What if one of the darkest experiments in human history was hidden for decades, and many people never faced trial for it? That's the story of Unit 731.
Unit 731 was a secret Japanese military unit during World War II. Officially, it was called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department of the Imperial Japanese Army. But behind that name, it carried out horrific human experiments on prisoners. The unit was mainly based in Harbin, occupied China, in an area called Pingfang. It was led by General Shiro Ishii, a military doctor obsessed with biological warfare. Unit 731 didn't just experiment in laboratories. Historians believe they released infected fleas and contaminated supplies into Chinese cities, causing outbreaks of deadly diseases. Thousands of civilians may have died because of these attacks. When Japan surrendered in 1945, Unit 731 tried to destroy evidence. Buildings were blown up, documents were burned, prisoners were killed. But some information survived. One of the most shocking parts of the story is what happened after the war. Instead of prosecuting many of the scientists, the United States reportedly offered immunity to some Unit 731 members in exchange for their research data on biological warfare. Because of this, many people connected to Unit 731 were never fully punished. Unit 731 remains one of the darkest examples of war crimes, human experimentation, biological warfare. For decades, details were hidden or denied, which made the mystery and horror even more disturbing. Today, historians continue researching what really happened and how many victims there were. Many prisoners were taken from nearby villages or arrested as suspected spies, resistance fighters, or political enemies. Some were promised work or food before being captured. According to testimonies and historical investigations, even women and children were imprisoned there. The victims were deliberately dehumanized by the staff. They were referred to as maruta, or logs, because the facility claimed it was officially a lumber mill project. This language made it easier for the researchers to treat human beings like objects. One of the most infamous experiments involved frostbite. Researchers wanted to study how soldiers could survive extreme winter conditions. Prisoners were forced outside in freezing temperatures, sometimes with their arms submerged in icy water until the skin froze solid. Witnesses later claimed guards would strike frozen limbs with sticks, creating a sound similar to hitting wood. Perhaps the most disturbing reports involved vivisections. Prisoners infected with diseases were cut open alive so researchers could study the progression of infections inside the human body. Anesthesia was often not used because researchers believed it would affect the results. Organs were removed and examined while the victims were still conscious. Former members later admitted these procedures happened regularly. One of the most controversial parts of the Unit 731 story involves the United States. As the Cold War began, American officials became interested in Japan's biological warfare research. Reports suggest that some Unit 731 scientists were granted immunity from prosecution in exchange for handing over their experimental data. General Shiro Ishii himself was reportedly never tried for war crimes. Many former members later returned to normal civilian life. Some became doctors, some worked in universities, others entered business or politics. This remains a deeply painful issue for many people today. For decades, the Japanese government rarely discussed Unit 731 publicly. Many documents had been destroyed at the end of the war. However, former workers gave testimonies, human remains were discovered, military records were uncovered, historians collected survivor accounts. Today, most historians agree that Unit 731 was real and responsible for large-scale atrocities. But debates still continue over the exact number of victims, the full extent of biological attacks, and how much governments knew afterward.
Unit 731 stands as a warning about what can happen when science is used without humanity or ethics. For years, the victims were almost forgotten. Now, their stories continue to be uncovered, reminding the world that some of history's darkest secrets were very real.